The movie begins when a policeman appears at the door. He says that he is looking for someone who is 15 years old. The man at the door calls the policeman in. His name is Eric, and he likes to make jokes. He hands over the pie he baked to Amanda. A few friends are already in the house for Thanksgiving dinner. Jess is the young daughter of Thomas, wearing a casual dress compared to the other guests. Kathleen taunts her for not making an effort for dinner, which irritates Jess as she likes to be casual. Jess does not like her in the house, but she has to bear it. At the same time, Thomas comes and joins everyone at the table. He owns a store which he never opens on Black Friday. Thomas's new fiancée and Jess's future stepmother suggested they should give away store items on Black Friday night, so they are keeping the store open. At the same time, Amanda brings the turkey to the table and calls Mitch to carve the turkey. He shares that he won't be with them for dinner because he must leave for the store. On the other hand, a huge crowd walks towards the store, fighting for the front row as the store will be open in 10 minutes. Black Friday deals have attracted a lot of people. The manager sees the crowd and thinks that those people are just idiots. Jess sits with Bobby, while she is sad that Kathleen has taken up her mom's place. Her father moved into the house he'd bought from Kathleen soon after she moved in, and now they are engaged. At the same time, Jess and Bobby's friends honk the car outside to signal their arrival. They plan to watch a movie together. They all sit in the car and make nice jokes. Suddenly, they stop by Jess's father's store. One of them has to buy a phone, and all others agree to go in and buy whatever they have in 5 minutes. Everyone rushes towards the store. A fan stops Bobby to talk to him. Meanwhile, Ryan sees Jess standing alone and invites her to a party at his house. She refuses, but he keeps insisting. Bobby steals her away from Ryan. Amanda brings Thanksgiving dinner for her husband, who is the manager. She came with Eric, and they were seriously worried about seeing a charged crowd. Jess and her friends enter the store, but the people outside don't know who they are and get angry. They enter the store and play with the things of their choice. The manager asks security to lock the door, while another officer announces that the store will open in 10 minutes. The manager cannot control the crowd, and it reaches the main glass door of the store. Jess's friend, Scuba, sees the people banging on the glass door and orders the security to open the door. The other security officer fled the scene upon realizing the dangerous situation. Suddenly, the glass cracked and a crowd rushed inside, trampling over the security guard. They threw Amanda to the floor as Evan began filming the chaotic scene. People pushed and fought to grab free items from the store, while security cameras captured the event. Bobby noticed the security guard was still alive and crawled towards him to help, but someone crushed his hand, causing it to twist. A woman struck Amanda with a trolley, killing her. Ace fired a shot to try and stop the chaos. A year later, someone watched Evan's video on a laptop as a news reporter interviewed the victim's family about the previous year's incident. Amanda's husband expressed regret over the lack of security personnel that day. Bobby, once a baseball star, became unfit for the game after his hand injury. The store owner falsely claimed there was no CCTV footage from that day. The scene then shifts to two policemen visiting a restaurant owned by a woman named Lizzie, who was responsible for killing Amanda with a trolley in the store. The sheriff showed her a mask commonly used in the city. Meanwhile, someone tagged Jess and her friends in Evan's video from the previous year. Jess blamed Evan for posting it online, causing tension between them. Jess had to film a family commercial with her father, Thomas, but he became angry when he discovered the cabin for the commercial had been ruined. Thomas wanted to shoot the commercial for store publicity, disregarding the events of the previous year, angering Jess. Bobby had been avoiding Jess, leading Ryan to be happy about his chances with her. Ryan's friend Jacob distributed pamphlets for a party at his house, but Jess and her friends refused to attend due to the $25 entry fee. They received a picture message with their names written on a dinner table. Ryan joined them and announced he had tickets for the game for everyone. Jess noticed a masked man staring at her, only for him to disappear when she looked away. Later, someone watched a video from the previous year featuring Lizzie and W. Marr late at night. As Lizzie closed the restaurant, she saw the mask on the counter and threw it away, only to be attacked by an unknown assailant. The attacker banged her head into the cold storage, injuring her face and fingers. Lizzie locked herself in a room, trying to unlock her phone for help, but struggled due to her injured fingers. She ran outside but could not find the keys to her car. Suddenly, someone starts the car behind her and kills her. The killer hangs her lower torso on the board of Right Mart. Evan enters the college and they receive the picture of the lady killed last night, hanging from the right. Jess talks to her father and tells him he will appoint additional security for all of them. The police call Jess and her friends to the police station and ask them to identify the murdered lady, but they don't know her. On her way out of the station, Jess meets Bobby. He apologizes to her for ghosting her all year. She asks for his help to find the CCTV videos of that night, stored on her father's computer. Also, Bobby is going into rehab so he will be able to play soon. As they are about to say goodbye, Ryan arrives and Bobby gets annoyed to see him, but he leaves with Jess and goes inside the police station. The security guard who fled from Right Mart knows that he has a life threat, so he is leaving for Cuba tonight. Suddenly, he could not see the passport that he had kept on the table. He looks around and finds the mask on the table. Someone attacks him with an axe and then removes his head from his torso. The killer packs his head and sets it on the table with his name tag. The killer sends the photo to Jess and her friends. The police know that the killer is smart, and he leaves no mark behind. Jess watches her father's computer for the CCTV and sees Ryan meeting a security person at the mall. She records it on her DVD. Suddenly, her father arrives and apologizes for ignoring her after he got engaged to Kathleen. Bobby and Jess print the pictures of the day of the incident from the video Jess took from her father's computer. Eric says that Ryan never mentioned he knew the security man who died that day. Eric tells them to be careful about Ryan. Evan reads the essay that Jacob wrote for him, but he copied it from the teacher's blog, so he gets embarrassed. They all sit together and think about who could be the murderer. They suspect everyone, including Ryan, Bobby, and Mitch. Ryan calls Jess, but she does not pick up. The trainer is training at the gym. Suddenly, a girl calls her from the back door. He follows her. The man sits aside and watches her jump. The killer kills the man and then inserts the knives below the jumping area and kills the girl too. The police at the investigation site advise Jess to stay home. She waits for Evan and his girlfriend to return from the game because she wants to go home with them. She texts them after waiting, but no one replies. Someone attacks Evan and Gabby in the corridor. Jess starts looking for them everywhere. She finds Gabby's phone in a cart. As she gets up after picking up the phone, the masked man attacks her with an axe. He dodges the attacker and hides. The masked man opens the room to search for her, but she mingles herself among the mannequins. Suddenly, she tries to grab a knife, and a spray bottle falls. She sprays the masked man's face and runs out. Unfortunately, she could not get helpful information to tell the police about the killer. At the same time, Ryan and Bobby arrive. Bobby gets angry to see him and asks about Ryan's relationship with the security at the Nightmare. They begin a fist fight, and Jess tells them they don't want to see either of them. Julia's father comes and gets her in the car to take her to Florida, while Scuba gets Jess to Jacob's party because he knows they are not safe anywhere. Scuba gives a gun to Scuba, but Jess refuses to take any weapons on their way home. Scuba talks to Julia about getting ready for Florida. Suddenly, the masked man kills the guard in her room. Julia calls her dad, but he does not reply. She walks into the house discreetly to find him. Her father appears, and then he goes downstairs, where the guard is lying dead. Suddenly, the masked killer kills him too. Julia gets on call with Scuba again, and the masked killer inserts pins in Julia's ears. Jess and Scuba scream and run towards her house to save her. But when Scuba comes before the killer, he grabs Julia as a human shield. Scuba's gun does not work. The killer runs away, leaving Julia with an electric saw. She dies after the incident. Kathleen blames Jess and her friends for it. Thomas decides he will not open the store this year's Thanksgiving. On the Thanksgiving parade, police bring Thomas's family out on the street as bait to attract killers, while heavily surrounding the area. The parade goes as planned until Amanda's husband Mitch brings a banner to remind her of last year's accident. Suddenly, someone starts attacking the public. This time the attacker kills random people wearing Joker's masks. Jess and her family sit in the car with Scuba to flee from the site. The masked man thunders a bomb in the crowd and throws an arrow at Thomas, Jess, and Scuba's bodies, causing them to fall unconscious. The masked man drives the car away. He prepares a syrup and brushes Kathleen's body with it. Then he throws salt, pepper, and coriander over her and turns on the heat. He forgets the mask near the oven, which burns it a little. As he comes back, Jess and Julia hide. The masked killer searches for them but cannot find them anywhere. Kathleen escapes upstairs and sees a girl in the fridge. She takes the bottle and shuts it again. Kathleen hides behind the door. While the masked man was trying to guess her next move, he abruptly struck her with a pointed shovel. She managed to escape outside in an effort to save herself, but he mercilessly threw the pointed shovel at her, causing it to pierce her body. He then callously tossed her into the oven, where she was burned alive. The media was in an uproar, and the police received another photo of the notorious killer. Jess sat at the dining table with her father and Scuba, their hands bound, as the police arrived at the scene. The killer brazenly started a live broadcast with everyone at the table, serving up Kathleen's charred remains. He then placed a hammer on Evan's head, repeatedly striking him until he succumbed to his injuries. The killer was seeking revenge on Evan for the viral video he had shot at W-Mart. Jess, in a desperate attempt to escape, managed to free her hands and attacked the killer, allowing her to flee. She later stumbled upon Eric's lifeless body on the road, grabbing his gun as she made her way to the killer's hideout. To her astonishment, she discovered that the killer was Bobby, not Eric. The police initiated a search operation, while Thomas, Scuba, and Gabby were treated at the hospital. In a shocking turn of events, Eric assaulted Jess at the police station, but she quickly realized that he was the real killer. Eric confessed that he was seeking revenge for losing his lover Amanda, who was planning to leave Mitch. Jess, using social media, exposed Eric's true identity, prompting him to attack her. Bobby came to her rescue, and they narrowly escaped as Jess ignited the gas to inflate a giant duck balloon. Eric attempted to stop them by hooking the car, but Jess shot the balloon, causing it to burst into flames and incinerate Eric. The police declared the incident resolved, and Jess returned home, haunted by nightmares of the killer. The movie culminates with a sense of closure as Jess overcomes her ordeal,